Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. This is going to be part 2 of living a child-free life, child-free by choice. I did the first video a couple weeks ago and I got a great response, so I do want to thank everyone who left a comment and took the time to watch that video, because I feel very alone sometimes with not wanting children in this lifetime. I have a lot of really close friends that absolutely adore kids and like are so ready to be moms, and I'm just here like I really don't see that for myself. So if you missed the previous video, I am approaching my 30s, my birthday's in September, and my fiance's already in his 30s. There's a 5-year age difference. We're getting married in the fall, and we have no desire for kids. And something that I didn't mention in that video is that I really want to travel the world and live debt-free. And you can do those things with kids, but I just don't see them being a part of that equation, especially because I spent so much of my early 20s being in debt that once I'm out of it, I don't really want to even risk having to support a child up until college or even past that, because I'm already in my 30s and my mom's still like, she's still there for me and she will literally drop anything for me, even though our relationship is very dysfunctional. Something I also didn't mention because I didn't know it at the time, but my mom had postpartum depression when she had my brother and I, and that's something that I never thought about. Like, I never bothered to ask her about that, but she told me that she had a lot of resentment when my brother was born specifically, because it had hurt so much. Like, she had a lot of complications in giving birth and it really hurt her, and she was very angry towards my dad and towards, I guess, just the situation itself. And I feel like, knowing myself and knowing the issues that I already have mentally, and also just like the body dysmorphic issues that I have towards my own self-esteem and like self-image, I feel like having a child would really intensify negative feelings, and I would never want to risk that. I just don't want to be cold towards a kid, you know. I don't want to risk that, because I can be a cold person, especially because I grew up so isolated from the rest of my family that even like cousin dynamics is weird to me. Like, I don't connect well with my cousins because I didn't grow up with them and I didn't have social media. When I was a little kid, like, Instagram didn't exist, even Facebook didn't until I reached like middle school, and it wasn't as popular as it became, you know, in its later years. But I didn't grow up with social media, so seeing my parents' family wasn't something that I was aware of. Like, I visited Colombia a couple of times when I was really young, but there wasn't always money for that. So having cousins and stuff, I'm very cold to them. Like, I don't feel anything. Unfortunately, I didn't grow up with grandparents, and if I have children, they're not gonna grow up with that loving, caring grandparents, because chances are my parents are a little bit on the elderly side. I don't want to be mean, but I feel like that's very it's a very real thing, that my parents are a lot older, and I don't know how much longer they would be if I have a child. Like, I feel like they'd probably reach maybe like, I don't know, I just feel like they wouldn't be coming into this world with a big family anyway. And then we already talked about the environmental aspects that come with having children, so I don't like that. But also traveling, I don't think I mentioned that, and traveling is something that I was never very interested in. You know, I see my friends go on trips all the time, obviously before the state of the world and what's currently going on, but that's something that I never was interested in until recently, where I'm like, you know what, I would like to travel. I would like to see the world. I've only been, even within the US, I haven't even been to many places. I've only been to, like, I'm in New York, so New Jersey, Connecticut. I went to Colombia overseas. And I think that's it. I think I've only been, like, I've never been to Florida. I've never been to California. I want to go to like coastal cities. I want cities that are near bodies of water. I want to see the Great Lakes. I want to see deserts. I want to see the Grand Canyon. Like, all these things are so foreign to me because I've lived all my life in a very big city. Like, even just trips like upstate New York are always so surreal to me, to see people have property that is so large when everything I've ever seen are like tiny little backyards and apartment buildings. So I really want to travel, and I really love animals, as we've talked about. So I see myself really just having a bunch of animals, living on a little farm. I really want pet chickens. I've never got to experience that, only in work, and I really love chickens. I want some turkeys. I want some waterfowl, and I feel like I can achieve that without kids. And of course, kids can be there too. I just don't feel like I have that maternal love, and I worry that I'll be disappointed. You ever see those gender reveal parties where either one of the parents is disappointed in like the sex of the child? I would hate for that to be me, and I know it would be. I know it would be. I know that if I had a boy, I would be disappointed, and I hate to admit that, but that's the truth. And I think that's another reason why I shouldn't have kids, because the likelihood of me having a boy is high, because everything that can go wrong usually goes wrong in my life. So I know I would be the one to get pregnant and be like, oh, it's a boy. boy. My fiance is a twin, and I was looking into that because that would be like the only time, like if I could get twin girls, that would be the only time where I feel like I could convince myself to be like, oh, give it a shot. But because of the way he's a twin, because I forgot, I looked at it, and genetically the chances aren't actually as high as I thought they would be, because it's on, I forgot what side of the family, it's on his mom's side of the family. I don't know, genetics confuse me. But yeah, that's not gonna happen. And again, I wouldn't want to have kids just as an accessory, because that's really what I'm thinking about, like having twin girls. I know what I would name them. I would name them Autumn and Summer, and and that's like what I was thinking of like a couple of years ago, when I did think like maybe you can do this. I remember I used to stand in my job because there's so many kids that come of all ages, and I would try to convince myself that I want to have a kid. Like I try to convince myself all the time, like, you can do this, like you want this, you want to have a child, you're just in denial, you know. Like I would talk to myself like that, because it's just an easier choice, like when it comes to having an overbearing parent who like really wants a grandchild. It's just like, you know, they're just constantly like, oh, you're gonna regret this, you're gonna regret it, you're gonna regret it. I've been told all the time that I'm gonna regret things. It's really interesting that people always do that. Just because I don't go always to like the normal path, people are gonna regret it. But I don't think I will. I don't think I will. And again, if I do, I mentioned that I'm super open to adoption, fostering. I know those systems, I know it could be very stressful. It could also be very expensive. But if the right situation or opportunity came up, I don't know, maybe. I always ask my fiance. I mentioned this in the other video. I'm like, are you sure you don't want kids? Like, how are you feeling right now? Has your opinion changed? I just want to know, just so that I'm not blindsided like 10 years from now and it's like, surprise, I won't have a kid. But I really want to thank everyone who left comments. I do want to quickly go through some of them right now, just because there were some really nice comments from both people who have kids and people who don't, that I think were really interesting. So Sarah left a comment saying, also child-free by choice, never had the desire, also not a kid person. It's not a lifestyle I lust after or am interested in. Definitely agree, Sarah. So there's also another one. I have always felt that I don't want kids. I've never imagined what kind of mom I would be. I had the best mom ever, so it has nothing to do with bad childhood like some people think. I just really want my freedom, and I want to do what I want when I want, and I don't really like children or enjoy spending time around them. I would lose my mind if a baby woke me up at night and would need me all the time. I would too. Sleep deprivation is very serious, and props to moms that handle it, because I don't know how I would. Prolonged sleep deprivation, I feel like, can lead to a really bad mental state. I'm just so happy that I realized this before having any kids. I'm free my whole life. I love that. That's such a cute comment. I had a good mom too. I mean, we have our issues. But yeah, sometimes not wanting kids doesn't have to be because of any traumatic reasoning. It could just be that we just aren't feeling it. Polish girl next door left a really amazing comment. I couldn't have phrased it better myself. She said, I think it's important to recognize that in order for an action to be selfish, someone has to be suffering as a result of said action. Not having children doesn't negatively impact anyone around you, so it can't be considered selfish. I'm sorry, there's an ambulance flying by. So Naya said, honestly, I'm too selfish. Once you have kids, it's a different lifestyle. I like kids from afar, but also don't have patience. I also don't like how other women make my lifestyle of not having children less important either. Definitely, I see that a lot, especially on Instagram Reels. I agree. I feel like it's just a different lifestyle, and if it's for you, it's for you. But honestly, I'm with you. I'm not really interested in having that life, especially because it's permanent. Like if I had another life, like if I was a cat and I had 9 lives, I'd be like, yes, let me be a mom for one of those lives. But no. Carla said, I love my newborns. This world is not a good place for them. They are better where they are. That is so hilarious, but it is so true. I definitely agree. It's just hard. Like every time I look at the news, and I've never been someone who kind of internalized all that stuff, but lately it's just been hard, especially, I mean, it depends. Every country has its issues, but living in the US, seeing where this world is headed is hard. Pain Exotic said, male, child-free since 14. I've never liked kids when I was one. Nearing 25 and still haven't changed my mind. I'd rather be engaged in leisure, traveling, and working on a satisfying career. I only need my friends to keep me company. I agree. I really like forming super strong friendships. I feel like I don't have enough in my life, but friends and a little bit of family I feel like is all I need. So Alina said, OMG, so true. I'm in my 20s and still don't want kids at all. I always hear that I will change my mind on that, but it just becomes stronger. I just don't see myself giving birth, me too, and become mom and take all that responsibility. Also, I don't want to pass on my genes and diseases. I barely function on my own. Like, how could I take care of another whole human or even give birth in the first place and get through the pregnancy itself? But people just don't get it, and I feel like society expects women to become mothers. Yes, that's so true. Like, genes and diseases, that's a whole nother topic, but for sure I definitely agree, and I've thought about that very frequently. I have family that's very skeptical or like non-believing towards mental health and like all those issues, like what is anxiety, doesn't exist, stuff like that. But I've seen it passed down from like my mom's side, and it's super interesting, and it's low-key disturbing how some of those issues have manifested through all our entire family. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think you have every right not to want to have kids. Yeah, and I wish you the best on your journey. Country Girl also said similar things. She has a niece and nephew, and that's more than enough for her. I hope that someone close to my family has kids soon so I can still be around that. What I do like about kids is seeing the holidays through their perspective, through their eyes, like the magic of Christmas and Easter, and like there's just certain cute things, like when you're a kid, holidays sometimes feel a lot more special. So I would love to have not a child myself, but to be around children during the holidays, because you see that magic and that excitement of the world and just genuine like pure heartedness that I feel like I don't have anymore when it comes to Christmas, at least. Tia said, thought you were a teenager, lol. I'm also child free by choice. My Cabbage Patch Kids are enough for me. I always wanted a Cabbage Patch toy as a child, but my mom thought they were ugly and she never got me one, and I'm disappointed. I wonder if they still sell them. Yeah, I get that all the time. I look a little bit younger than my age, but I am approaching my 30s. And my birthday's in September. I don't know if I mentioned that already. I might have. Wife Without Kids is a very popular child-free channel. She left a comment. I'm gonna leave her channel in the description box. She said, I think it's so important to not have a child if you don't want one. That feeling of not wanting kids is there for a reason. Enjoyed your video. Thank you. Yes, I agree. The feeling is there. I don't want to go against it because honestly, I think I have every right to not want to have kids, especially if my fiance is on the same page as me. All right, this video was a little bit long. Apologies. I don't have timestamps so people can skip around if you want. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll have all my social media links in the description box down below. I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.